A very warm welcome back to the Football Martin channel. Thank you very much for tuning in today. We're building up towards the big game at St Mary's tomorrow as Southampton host Man United in the Premier League. I'm going to be getting the opposition's view very shortly, but it's a big game for both managers, this one, as Russell Martin looks for his first points as a Premier League manager, and under fire Man United manager Erik ten Hag will be looking to get points on the board and ease the pressure on himself. Well, the Saints haven't beat United at home in almost 20 years now, and they will be looking to cause an upset in the lunchtime kickoff at St Mary's. And joining me today on today's video to give me the opposition view is Jay Motty, a man you may have seen across social media and across YouTube. He's from the Stratford paddock, and he's going to give me the opposition's view on all things Southampton Man United. Thank you very much for joining me, Jay. Are you coming down to the game at the weekend? You're travelling south?
No, I don't tend to do many aways. I've got a season ticket and I go to most of the home games, if not all of them. Although I did miss a few last season, but this season and sort of last few years, I used to do home and away like constantly, and then I sort of rolled it back a few years ago. So we're going to be in the studio. We'll be doing a watch along for it. Obviously, I'll be watching it, and it's a game that, for different reasons, for both clubs and both managers, there's obviously a lot at stake here. I know, obviously, Russell Martin is, got you guys promoted, and it was an amazing achievement. But I gather he's under a bit of pressure as well. My brother-in-law, funnily enough, is a Southampton fan, and he was telling me a little bit about how Russell Martin's under pressure. And as you probably gathered, Erik ten Hag, despite the fact we're only 3 games in, he's under pressure as well because of what happened last season and also what's been happening this season.
Yeah, it's been a tough start for United. Opening day win as well against Fulham. Looked fairly decent on the night, and you just thought they'd kick on. And obviously it's a tough second game to go away to Brighton. It's never an easy place to go. But obviously the Liverpool game is always going to be tough at Old Trafford. What's been the thoughts from inside the United fan base after the opening 3 games?
Well, I think the Fulham game, people saw, okay, first game of the season, not perfect, but there's some small signs there that you can see what we're trying to do. And obviously to get the win, that's the most important thing. Joshua Zirkzee, new signing, getting on the score sheet as well. Everyone's chuffed about that. Brighton, bit deflating. Okay, if I'm going to be kind, I could say the disallowed Garnacho goal could have gone either way. It was a bit unlucky, really. Not that it wasn't offside, but Xerxes touched it when he didn't need to, and I don't even know if he wanted to touch it, to be honest with you. So that was a little bit of a turning point. And again, you can look at it and go, actually, United for about 50, 60 minutes of that game played really well, despite the defensive lapse. But the Liverpool game, there's no excuses. Just not good enough at all. Liverpool are our fiercest rivals. It's the one fixture that you look for straight away when the list comes out. And to just capitulate like that at Old Trafford with silly mistakes. And it wasn't just the mistakes. It's like every time we made a mistake, it was exacerbated by poor defending or poor decision-making. Just not good enough at all. And this is one of the reasons why I know it sounds a little bit crazy to be talking about managers under pressure 3 games into a season. But following on from last season where we finished 8th, this is one of the reasons why some people, not everyone, will be looking at ten Hag and going, you know what? You need to start winning football matches quickly because there's nothing more deflating than losing 3-0 to the Scousers.
Yeah, no, I watched the game. I was surprised, actually, because United started the game so well as well, didn't they? Started it at a really good pace. It looked really, really deadly on the attack and moved the ball, I thought, really, really well. But once Liverpool come into it, I just thought Liverpool looked to work really hard. I thought there's a lot that Southampton could take from it in terms of the way we have to attack the game at the weekend. What are the major weaknesses? Obviously, I've only seen the one game that United have played this season. What are the weaknesses that Southampton will look to exploit, do you feel?
I feel that there's still a bit of a gap between midfield and defence that can be exploited. I don't think that'll be any secret to Russell Martin and the Southampton coaching staff. I think everyone's flagged it up in terms of pundits and the right to it was an issue last season, and it seems to be a bit of an issue this season. I don't know if it's a sort of a weakness you can exploit, but our lack of goals is costing us. We're not converting our chances when we got them. Even the Liverpool game, we had 2 very good chances there, which could have made that game a little bit more competitive, and we didn't take them. Now, against a team like Liverpool, if you don't take chances, you're going to get punished. And to be fair, we were already, 3-0 down when those 2 chances came, so it's not like it meant that would have been, the game turned around, but it would have at least given us something to try and fight for, because I think, there was like 20 minutes left when we had those couple of chances. So you look at that, and also I think you probably saw, I don't know if you saw the goal against Brighton, the winner for Brighton, just switching off defensively, especially from set pieces and at the back post. There was a list, a whole queue, of Brighton players waiting to score the winner. So these are the sort of weaknesses that Manchester United have got to address. These are the ones that Southampton can try and exploit. Now, I don't know a lot about Southampton, obviously, but any team can score from a set piece. Any team can score from a set piece when you're not picking up your men, and especially when you're not picking up your men at the back post. And this is something that's been evident for Manchester United for a little while now, certainly this season in the Brighton game. So there are weaknesses there. And I think just the general, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a weakness, but the fact that Manchester United are in this position now where, following on from last season, going into this season with the poor start we've had, where there is that added pressure for everyone. And that is something you can exploit, because when players are under pressure, when they're feeling it, when the man is under pressure, they make mistakes. They can make mistakes. And this is why Manchester United have got to step up in this game. We've got to show that, no disrespect to Southampton, United should be beating Southampton. Our record at St Mary's is very, very good. Our record against Southampton is very good. Yeah. I mean, with all due respect, if you wanted
20 years, isn't it, since Southampton won a game here?
Well, there you go. If you wanted a game away from Old Trafford against anyone, you'd probably choose Southampton because of that record and because of the fact Southampton are struggling. But that being said, the flip side to that is it gives you no excuses. So if you don't get a result, if you don't get a win, it's not going to wash. Losing at home to Liverpool is terrible. But at least you can say, well, they've got Mo Salah, they've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, they've got Virgil van Dijk, Luis Diaz had a very good game. They've got these players that can punish you. If you're going to lose away to a team that's not got any points this season and who've just been promoted, I don't know. I don't think the fans will stomach it.
Yeah, Southampton have only scored the one goal as well. They failed to win any of their last 8 top-flight home matches, drawn 2, lost 6, conceded 19 goals in the process. And Saints have emerged winless from their last 15 meetings with Man United. That really does heap the pressure on Erik ten Hag, doesn't it? A lot of talk in the press about him and his job at the football club. Do you feel a defeat tomorrow would really, really mount pressure on him?
100%. Yeah. Listen, I've backed Ten Hag. I backed him last season. I backed him before the FA Cup final and said, regardless of the result, I'll still stand by this manager. But you get to a breaking point. And I think if he lost away at Southampton, I think that might be a fatal one for him. And I don't think it'd be just that game on its own. It'd be the fact he finished 8th last season, the fact we've had this poor start, it'd all accumulate. But I think that could be, if you allow me to use a cliche, the straw that brought the camel's back. If you lose away at a team that have just been promoted and have finished, and are currently 19th, and as you said, have scored just one goal. And what worries me, if I'm just going to be overly pessimistic, is if we lose this game to Southampton, one thing I've noticed about them, just from looking at the stats, because obviously I've not watched the games like you have, and just from chatting to people who do watch Southampton, you keep the ball. Against Brentford, you lost 3-1 and you had more possession. I think you had like nearly 70% possession, which for a team that, has just been promoted is admirable. And a team that is obviously struggling for results is admirable, but it's not being very effective. If United were to lose to a team that is keeping the ball, that is playing good football and keeping possession, then that just adds sort of insult to injury. Because if you look in it and you go, okay, well, Southampton did a bit of a smash and grab or whatever, and we were dominating possession and they had a lucky chance on and they just got a goal. But if you go to Southampton and you lose and they've had most of the ball, as a Manchester United fan, I'm not going to be able to stomach that. And I don't think Ineos will either.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be interesting. Saints do kick the ball really well. At Newcastle, we outplayed Newcastle for the 30 minutes with 11v11. They had a man sent off controversially, and they put a lot of men behind the ball and made it really hard for Southampton. But they've been decent in every game other than the Forest game at home. It's always different to play at home in front of your home fans. There's a bit more, there's so much more expected at home. A performance is an absolute must from Southampton tomorrow. There'll be changes to our starting 11. How do you see the United 11 tomorrow? Do you see many changes with a 3-0 defeat, 2 back-to-back defeats? He'll make changes tomorrow, surely, Ten Hag.
The big question is Manuel Aguy. He's the new signing. You saw what happened with Casemiro against Liverpool. He made 2 mistakes that basically cost us 2 goals. And there's a big question mark over him. There's been a question mark over him going back to last season as well. He didn't have a good season. He's 32 years old. He doesn't look like the player we saw at Real Madrid. So the question is, does Manuel Aguy come in for him? Now, the argument against that is the fact that Manuel Aguy only landed in England, I think, on Thursday, because he'd been away with Uruguay playing in games for them. And I think he played a full 90 minutes against Venezuela as well recently. So is he ready to start in the Premier League when he's barely trained and he's obviously been doing a lot of travelling? Personally, I think he is. And I think you need to start him. I said earlier, this is a must-win game, and it is, and you play your best team. However, the manager might look at it differently. He might decide that he wants to keep Casemiro on board a little bit because there's rumours that he wasn't happy with being subbed at half-time. So I don't know whether Manuel Gatti will start, but for me, he should, and I would pick him. Defensively, I think he's going to go with the same back four. I know it wasn't perfect, but I think Matthijs de Ligt and Martinez are your best two centre-backs, certainly the best that are available. And then, attack-wise, still no Rasmus Højlund. Maybe I think Amad Diallo might start for us. I think he's a player that's looked lively this season. So I think it might be Garnacho misses out and then Xerxes down the middle. So it's still a strong set of players to choose from. Yes, we're missing Mount and we're missing Højlund and we're missing Luke Shaw, but we've still got a very strong team and a very good squad. And as I keep saying, because it's true, there's no excuses really.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see Marcus Rashford in the flesh again tomorrow. I'll be at the game. I'm a massive fan of his. I feel sad actually watching him play sometimes. It's like a player that doesn't play with that smile on his face like he did a couple of years ago. Do you think he's just really lacking confidence at the moment? Is he a real confidence-based player?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, no worries, bro. Okay, no worries. Sorry, it's just one of my colleagues there. He's feeling a bit worse for wear. Excuse me. Yeah, in answer to your question about Marcus Rashford, we've just done a video on Marcus Rashford, funnily enough. He's been doing extra training. We spoke to a coach that we know called Ryan Upper, who does elite coaching with players. And he's been spending some time with Marcus over the international break. So Marcus is putting the work in. But you're right. Listen, I love Marcus Rashford, but he looks like he's miserable. He looks like he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. Yeah. And it pains me to see that, because this was a player who, when he burst onto the scene, was phenomenal. Came through the academy, scored a load of goals. A couple of seasons ago, he hit 30 goals. The first player, I think, since Robin van Persie to do that for Manchester United. And then lately, he's just not looked the same at all. It's been sad to see. So I'm hoping that the extra training he's put in over the over the international break will help. I'm hoping we can see Marcus Rashford at his best, because I believe that if Marcus Rashford plays as well as he can, and again, no disrespect to Southampton, I don't think they can cope with him. But if Marcus Rashford doesn't turn up, if Marcus Rashford puts in some of the performances we've seen recently, then just like the manager, he's going to be under pressure if United don't get a result.
Yeah, one man that will be key tomorrow will be Bruno Fernandes. He scored the winner last time at St Mary's, the season that Southampton got relegated. He made one of his 6 direct goal contributions in 7 matches against Southampton, scored 3 and assisted in 3. Be a key man tomorrow, and he, the midfield maestro.
I love Bruno. I do.
Yeah,
I think he's
a good player.
Been an absolutely phenomenal signing for Manchester United. Our signings post Alex Ferguson have been shocking. We have wasted so much money on so many players who, on paper, should have done the business. You look at some of the names we've had: Angel Di Maria, Alexis Sanchez, Radamel Falcao, Romelu Lukaku, Paul Pogba. These are players, and some of them have done okay, and they've had moments. Paul Pogba, played a lot of good games for Manchester United, but none of them have quite lived up to the expectation. And some of them, in the case of Di Maria and Sanchez and Falcao, have been absolutely disastrous. So when you look at Bruno Fernandes, who probably didn't arrive with the sort of fanfare that the likes of a Pogba or a Di Maria did, and what he's achieved at the club, what he's done in terms of goals, assists, performances, the amount of games he plays, he's always fit, he's always available, then he's been absolutely, a ridiculously good signing. And I'm relieved we managed to make that signing, because I think no matter how bad things have got for United over certain seasons, there'd be a lot worse without Bruno Fernandes. So, yeah, he is a good player. He's not having a good start to the season. I'm not going to pretend to you. He hasn't been that great in the first few games, but he's always capable of that little bit of magic, as you sort of pointed out with his numbers there, where he can, pick out that pass or hit that shot in where he can punish anyone. So, yeah, Bruno, he's another one who needs to step up a little bit, but I think he can. And I think, again, and your viewers are probably screaming at the screen now because I keep saying it, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but let's be honest about it. This is a game the likes of Rashford, the likes of Bruno, the likes of Manchester United, the likes of Erik ten Hag should be turning up for, and we should be winning. There's no excuses, really.
Yeah, Southampton are going to have to be at their very, very best to get anything out of the game tomorrow. Everybody needs a 10 out of 10 performance. Before you go, Jay, it's been brilliant having you here with me. I want to get a score prediction from you. I think you feel that United should win. Do you feel they will win?
Yes, I do. Despite my negativity, I still feel that United should have enough to win this game. And I still feel that even though we have been a little bit underwhelming this season, to say the least, there's signs there that we've got players with quality. So I'm going to go for the old favourite between the two clubs, 3-2 as my score prediction. I think we've had a few of them over the years. And I don't want to bring back bad memories. I remember the League Cup final, of course. We've had a few. I think there was the one, was it the Van Persie hat-trick? Was that one, or am I getting that wrong? There's been a few 3-2s over the years.
There's been a few over the years for sure. The League Cup final kind of stand out. I really enjoyed that day. I've got to say, Saints were good that day at Wembley. Surprisingly, put a really decent performance in that day under a manager that played quite bland football for us, Claude Puel. We turned up. They just need to turn up and need the fans behind it to sell out. It's been a sellout for weeks. Everybody's looking forward to United on the South Coast. I'm certainly looking forward to it. I'll be around the ground doing some pre-match content as well. So if you're down at St Mary's, make sure you check me out and make sure you go check Jay out as well. You create some great content. Where can everybody find you, Jay?
You can find me over on Stretford Paddock if you want to get the United take on things. And yeah, it's been a pleasure chatting to you. And I'm not going to wish you luck, obviously, but it'll be good to chat to you again for the game again at Old Trafford.
Yeah, definitely, Jay. Thank you very much indeed for your time.